before we even go into anything crazy, I'm just going to explain this. You can still do your skills. It's all right. You could still do. It's something like that anyway. Thanks for reminding me, by the way, guys. Sorry, I've just fucked that up entirely. Yo, what's going on, guys? Rhys here from More Than Lifting with the More Than Lifting podcast. Conversations about calisthenics, bodyweight training, all that good stuff. I'm Rhys, a personal trainer from the UK, and in this episode of the podcast, we're going to be talking about one of my favourite things, and it is training cycles, okay? What exactly are training cycles? I've spoken about them quite a lot in the previous episodes where we've talked a lot about programming and workout structures and all that kind of I don't know, it's not particularly exciting, but it's good to know because then you can do it yourself. And the more you know, the more you can do yourself, and that's cool. So I want to help you learn your skills, and by understanding a few little principles of training and how to get the best results for yourself, you can then use that in your own training. You can go, right, what am I doing? Silly moose, I've been doing this wrong the entire time. I need to do my harder stuff first and my easier stuff, just like where we talk about front loading. All right, so little things like that can change the way you train and completely flip your results. Like if you're struggling, like things like that can have a huge impact on your training results, okay? And that's important, you know, I want to help you learn cool stuff. So training cycles anyway. Training cycles, or periodization, is basically where you split up your program into, and I say program, but I mean like your long-term goal or your medium to short-term goal realistically, into mini goals or smaller periods of time where you focus on certain things. So this is particularly applicable to calisthenics because you want to learn a cool skill, but you can't do it yet. So what do you have to do? You have to train for it. Now, the best way to train for skills, it sucks, okay, I'm going to tell you this, but it's better to do strength first. All right, and the reason is you do what you normally do is a strength cycle and then a skill cycle. And what I mean by that, and before we even go into anything crazy, I'm just going to explain this. All right, you do this because you want to learn a skill, right? But you can't do the skill yet. So what you need to do, you need to get stronger. All right, you get stronger, and then you come back to the skill, and you're even better. You can move up the progressions, you know, because if you just try and learn a planche right out the bat, it's going to be hard because at the minute you can't get your arms straight, or your shoulders are struggling, or you can't lift your bum up high enough, or really like the tuck is difficult for you. Like, bad news, man. You need to get stronger, yeah, so that you can then tackle it, okay? And you need to get stronger in different areas depending on what different skills are, and it gets kind of technical, but ultimately you need to get stronger, and then you'll be able to do the skill better, all right? And it's not necessarily that strict, okay? But if you're working towards something long term, then ultimately it's better to spend a short time focused on a certain thing and then focus on another thing, all right? And yes, you can do it all in one go, and absolutely, like, you can. I do lots of stuff in one go, and it's not saying when you don't do strength you can't do skills, because it is a jumble, and you do strength stuff in your skill cycle and you do skill stuff in your strength cycle, but there's the focus of it is your strength in that period of time, that whatever it is. And then the same with your skill. When you get into your skill cycle, you focus predominantly on skills. So all your strength stuff that you're doing, all your strength workouts are either maintenance, like you work on skills, so you have a strength day within that cycle, and you do a couple of skills in the front load of your workout, and then you go on to your skills, kind of like the one workout framework. You go on to your strength, kind of like the one workout framework. So you do skills and then you do your strength, but you include that because you need to be still working on your strength. Yeah, so anyway, I've dived straight in, and I wanted to talk to you about a few things, something else first before I just jump straight in, but I'm so excited about it. I love like explaining this to people, because like at first they're like, what do you mean I need to get stronger first? And then they realize, and they're like, yeah, I see how it works now. It's a simple little bit of information that can change the way that you apply your training to your goals, you know, and it will change your results completely, right? And anyway, yeah, like I say, I've dived straight in. So before we get into this training cycle stuff, I'm working towards a few really difficult push-ups for the end of the year, obviously with this 100 push-up challenge. If you haven't been keeping up with it, just go to modernlifting.com/100 challenge, and the latest ones there, and they were all there. And that's it. That's all I'm going to mention about it for now. But I've got to learn to do, because I can't do them yet, 90-degree push-ups. All right, and I've also got to do planche push-ups, and I can't do either of them yet. All right, and that kind of sucks, because like part of me feels like, oh, I should just be able to do them, but also like I can't. So I've got to train for it. You know, I've got to work on that stuff. And if you're following along with the 100 push-up challenge, you need to train for it as well, like, because otherwise you won't be able to do that in 50-second week. And it doesn't mean you have to start training for it now or whatever. Like, you could just carry on or join in where you are, and the progressions are there, but that's not a training program. You know, that's just a weekly challenge, like to test you out and to push your limits every week. Like, try the next thing, try another hard thing, new variation you haven't tried before. Yeah, and that's kind of the concept behind it. But the point is, these are really difficult push-ups, and we've got to do 20 of them, you know. And it's not just doing one of them for 20, but you're doing 20 90-degree push-ups, which I think are probably going to be the hardest. And then you got 20 like planche push-ups, 20 full body plyos, 20 one arms, or 20 handstand. I think that's it. It's something like that anyway, but it's 100 incredibly difficult reps basically. So I've got to get prepared for it, you know. I've got to start training it. Can't do them yet, so I need to know that come December I'm going to be able to do 20 of them in a row live, because that's the worst thing. It's all live. Like, I can't hide, you know. It's got to be there, and if it's not there, then I fail, you know. And I can't fail because I'm just trying to help you guys to do it. If I can't do it, then, you know. So it's important that I do this for myself and for the 100 push-up challenge. But, you know, they're very difficult skills, and so they require, you know, a bit of training. So this 90-degree handstand, anyway, what it is, I know I've spoken about it a couple of times, but for those who don't know, is a handstand. You start in a handstand and you go down, kind of like a handstand push-up, but instead of just going to the floor, you go out horizontal into an elbow lever, which is where, or like a bent arm planche, which is where you're completely horizontal but supported off the ground, like at the height of your elbows. It's, you know, initially you learn as a progression where you're literally resting on your elbows, and then eventually you do it without supporting yourself on your elbows. And that's the full elbow lever. Anyway, that's just one part of it. And if that was it, you know, 20 of them, that's all right, just negatives. But the difficult part is getting back up again from the elbow lever into the handstand. So you push, you're levering yourself up, your legs into the air, and then pushing right up so you're straight back in a handstand. Oh my God. So I can go down because the negative's all right, but getting back up again, bloody hell, is that difficult? I can, like other stuff, you know, like my handstand push-ups. I'm not the best at handstand push-ups. I can do like maybe 3 or something like that. That's another thing I need to work on. All right, but I'm hoping, because 3, actually, I could probably do more than 3. I'll probably do about 5 handstand push-ups. But the point is, I need to get that up to 20 as well. And thanks for reminding me, by the way, guys. I need to be working on that. But these things, I can do negatives or whatever a couple of times a week, or, you know, and hope that one day I'll be able to do 1 or 2 reps, you know, and that's one way of approaching that goal. But I don't just want to do 1 or 2 or 3. I'm going to be able to do 20. So that's quite a lot of reps. I need to do very specific training. For doing that, I need to work on those particular skills. And then I don't just need to be able to do the skills. I need to then work on being able to do them for reps and work on that. And it's a high rep count, you know, 20 reps isn't shy, especially for such difficult skills. So I need to prepare for it. So to do that, I can't do that skill now. I can't do a 90-degree push-up. I can't do a planche push-up. I can do a handstand, I can do an elbow lever, I can do a planche, but, you know, I can't do them as dynamic exercises. So I need to work on those things. So if I can't do them now, I can try and do loads of negatives, loads of holds, and, you know, other things that are kind of, I'm doing the exercises. But if I just go, okay, I can't do them now, I'll try them a couple of times, I'll do my negatives and stuff, but if I focus my training time over the next 4 weeks on strength, getting stronger, high reps and muscle ups, working on those handstand push-up reps and stuff like that. Dynamic movements, the foundational movements, you know, your push, your pull, your core stuff. And yeah, isometric, but we do isometrics as well, but these are all dynamic skills, so I need to be doing the movements. So for that, I'm going to work on my pulls, I'm going to work on my dips, and I'm going to work on my leg raises. I'm going to do different variations of cores, like different core exercises as well. It won't just be strict leg raises, because I'm ahead of that. You know, I'll be doing myself a disservice just doing leg raises to an extent. I mean, I'd still do them, but there are other skills and other exercises I can do as well, like one arm ones, for example. I could practice getting those in during my strength cycle to really build up that shoulder activation control, which will help loads. Yeah, so I'd focus on them. I'd still work my skills, but I'd focus on the strength. Yeah, and then in a month, because a month's happening regardless, I spend that month getting stronger and still working it, but getting stronger is my focus for that cycle. Then when I go back to the skill, I will be stronger, so I'll be able to tackle the skill better. I'll be able to learn to use that new strength to improve my skill. Yeah, and so that's how it works. I could work the skills, but if I work the strength, then in a month's time I'll be able to go further than I could if I just work the skill. Oh, that's basically the idea. And yeah, because I can still do a handstand push-up every day. You know, I can still do a negative planche push-up, or I could still try my elbow lever or try a planche push-up every day. But if my workouts are strength workouts, then I'm getting everything stronger. So my whole body is improving. Yeah, and then when I return to the skill in a month and focus a good bit of time just on that skill, you know, I really dive in on those skills during the next 4 weeks. The strength goes on the back burner. Once or twice a week, I'll do my strength stuff. Yeah, but the rest of the time, I'm working on my control, I'm working on my skills. And that's the focus. So that's basically how I need to approach my training specifically for these exercises. And it's getting to the point where I need to start thinking, right, I need to start doing that, because it's 2 months. Like, it's a 2-month cycle overall to hit that goal. Yeah, well, that's what I plan for. It'd actually be an extra week, and I'll explain about that in a minute. So what training cycles are then are focus periods of time that you train for specific goals, yeah? And what they are is sub-goals. So you have your overarching goal, I want to learn to do 90-degree push-ups, and then I go, right, I can't do them now, I need to get stronger. So I do my strength cycle first, and then I'll have a skill cycle afterwards. Then the reason you do it like this, and the reason you split it in the first place instead of doing everything all the time, because that's an option, is that after a few weeks of you doing it, like when you start training, as soon as you start training, you're like, yeah, hench gains, you're like psyched about going down the gym all the time because you feel massive, everything seems to be growing at like some kind of brutish Hulk, like just crazy rate, you just feel like an absolute monster all the time. And then, you know, after a month, you're still doing the same kind of workouts all the time. You've upped your weight a little bit, but you kind of stopped developing. You kind of plateaued a little bit. All right. And this is because your body gets used to that kind of training, that kind of stress. And so you start to get diminishing results. Okay. Which is where the plateau happens. And eventually you can't go anywhere and you start almost going backwards. Okay. So what you do instead is you split up your focuses. So for, like I've already said, we have a strength and skill split. You do your strength stuff, focus on your strength stuff, your body gets used to just the basic movements, the basic strength stuff, building the muscle, building, and then you start to get diminishing returns. So you switch your focus, hit the skills, and then your body's like, whoa, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? I haven't done any of this crazy isometric stuff. What's being upside down? I've forgotten about it. And so you're like, boom, crazy loads of gains all over again, skill gains, and then after 4 to 6 weeks, you start tailing off. So you're like, right, bang, back on the strength. Okay, if you can't achieve your skill within that 4 weeks, guess what? I mean, it sucks to hear it, but you gotta get stronger. You still need to get stronger. So what you need to do is switch back to the strength cycle, do another one. You can still do your skills, it's all right, but your focus is the strength. And then boom, straight back into the skill cycle, and you know, next thing you're a flag ninja, or you're a 90-degree push-up ninja, which is where I'm hoping to be. Okay, so and that's the kind of how the training gets structured. That's how like a lot of advanced training for like athletes and stuff is all structured. If you get a PT, they're going to structure your training like this, because I mean, it might be more on stability and stuff like that, and that's all important as well, don't get me wrong, but that's all built into the program, in programs anyway. When it comes to your training, that strength skill split, especially if you're trying to learn these advanced calisthenics skills, that is the way to go. All right, and how that works is you tend to do 4 weeks hardcore strength, then 4 weeks hardcore skill. All right, and it ends up not being an 8-week cycle, but a 10-week cycle. Okay, and that's because in between each cycle, you've been doing, during a cycle, you're doing shitloads of training, all right, and you're really pushing your limits. You need a break, all right, because overtraining is a serious problem. Yeah, if you push yourself too hard all the time, pushing yourself to the limits is good, yeah, but your body needs to have a chance to recover, and you need to do this thing called a deload. All right, and what a deload is a rest period, and it's just a week or a couple of days or whatever where you do little to no training, and instead you do like active recovery stuff, like think foam rolling, like any other form of self-myofascial release, like really working on your mobility and flexibility and stuff like that, that is low strength. Okay, and it works on, it's more about improving the other aspects of your training really that time. And in the program, in the 12-week program, which you can get, by the way, if you go to morethanlifting.com/12 weeks, our deload is week 7, and we do handstands basically for 7 days. So instead of doing loads of focus strength stuff or switching to the skill cycle, we do a little deload in the middle, okay, because the deload is important. That 12-week program, you're training every day, okay, even your rest days, you're still doing like this active recovery stuff, but it's pretty intense, okay, still. So you trust me, your elbows, you feel your joints start to hurt and stuff, and they'll be really sore. Not like DOMs, not like when you just do loads of reps one day and your muscles feel sore, but it'll start to get to your joints and your tendons and ligaments, and you've got to look after these parts of your body because you don't want to ruin them. So the deload is really important. It may sound like a bit of a cop-out when someone tries to tell you about a deload, because they're like, yeah, and then you rest for a week, and like, it sounds like they couldn't be asked to write a program, but to be honestly, that it is so important. All right, so just remember that deload between your cycles, okay? And I'll just give you the thing, right, so there's one other thing, guys. I'm going to help you to understand this in terms of like a real program. I'm just going to explain the structure of the 12-week program quickly. Okay, so what we do, because it's only 12 weeks and I demand quite a lot out of you in that time, we're not doing 4-week or 6-week cycles. We shorten it up. We do have a 6-week cycle and a 5-week cycle, well, a 4-week cycle, and then we have a deload and like a challenge week in between to make up the 12. But each of these cycles are also split up into 2 weeks to keep that adaptation at its peak. We really push it, we really drill it, and I want you to progress fast, because a lot of this stuff you can learn really quick. Get started with it really quickly. I mean, if you've got the right training structure and you're doing the right stuff at the right time. So what we do is 2 weeks of the foundation where we work on strictly, so it's the foundation cycle. We work strictly on getting those pull-ups good, dips good, leg raises good, all these foundation exercises. And it seems kind of boring, but it's really important and it will help a lot. Okay, and then we transition then into a strength cycle. Okay, because we've been working on that strength and we really want to push it right at the start. Yeah, so we drill in, we hit that 10 reps is what we want, and we start doing simple variations to help switch up the exercises and teach you about different how that works and how the variations fit into the program, and to help you push your limits as well, because then the next 2 weeks is a skill cycle where we transition into more dynamic skills, low level skills and stuff like that. And then we have our deload, which is, like I've already said, handstand skills. So I know we've just had a skill cycle, but during that time you're doing loads of pulls and you're doing loads of dips and you're doing loads of leg raises as well. You just learn more interesting variations, and you work on different other skills like your L-sit and your crow stand skills. And you're still, like I said, you're still doing strength stuff in the skill cycle, you're still doing skill stuff in the strength cycle. And then in your deload, we just chill everything off and we work on some handstands, do lots of mobility and stuff like that. But we work on those handstands because handstands are fun, you know, and they're good to do. And that's a good time where you can do lots and lots of handstands and it doesn't really interfere with the rest of your training. So it's the perfect time during your deload to do handstand stuff. Then we've got a couple of weeks left. Week 8, back in the strength cycle. 2 weeks, 8, 9 is strength. And this is where we do more complex and technical variations of our basic foundation movements, so the pulls, dips, and the leg raises and other core stuff. And the same with the push-ups and rows and the like flutter kicks and kind of other low-level core exercises. Like we hit up the variations, we kind of mix it up a bit, and then when we transition into the skills, we start thinking about things like levers, your planche stuff, and other things like advancing your handstand and working other skills around the handstand, because that is a big game changer, getting good at handstands. And we also work on things like the elbow lever as well. And then we do some results and some challenges for the final week, and then that's kind of it really. And then I recommend you do another deload before you do something else. Yeah, so in terms of context, okay, so I split it into 2 weeks instead of 4 weeks, but that's to get a lot of this training in, to teach you loads of stuff and to really push your limits fast. Okay, so that's just because I demand a lot out of you guys, really. But you could do that as 4-week cycles in your own time and have a deload in between them quite easily. And that will literally change the results that you see from your training. All right, guys, I've probably rambled on for far too long like I normally do, but it was lovely catching up. Nah, honestly, guys, that's it. I'm going to wrap it up for this episode. If you like what you heard, give us a subscribe, share us with training partners and your mates, other people who are doing this kind of stuff, who can really benefit from learning about this. And yeah, so let them know, and spread the love and spread the gains. I can't remember if I saw that first. Anyway, guys, reach out to me on the socials, give us a subscribe, an honest 5-star rating and review as always. And if you're interested in joining the program, then just give me an email or give me a direct message on Instagram. We can talk about it. If you want more information or stuff, anything like that, just reach out to me. I'm a human being. On any of these places, you can just talk to me and it'll be me. And yeah, so don't be shy. If you have a question or something like that, reach out to me at More Than Lifting everywhere, and I will chat to you soon. Otherwise, keep in touch with yourselves, and I'll speak to you in the next episode. And yeah, have a good one.